Hi, everybody. It is me, Ahin Fatma, and today we're again live with another wonderful person, Kurt Kruger, who's a polymath. And before we would go online, I would talk about a certain thing, and he'd start talking like, I know this, and so many of things, and he's a very knowledgeable person, honestly. And today we're here to talk about the 3 C's for future success. And also, we're going to be keeping it light, like, a chat or how we would usually, go crazy while talking. So let's get this beginning with, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Kurt Kruger, and I've been around the world a few times, and 5 continents I've been teaching at, and peak performance practices or stress management or enhancing life. And this is the big key. And when you said that I was saying, I know this, I know that, I actually never say I know it. I just talk about it as if I know it. But guess what? When you're 94,000 years old, you get to learn a few things in your past. I have a friend who I read about 200 books one summer. And it was a fascinating experience. And it gave me insights into nature, it gave me insights into psychology, it gave me insights into nutrition, so many things that make life better. So when we seek, we get to find. And if you don't seek and if you don't adventure, you don't find out where your borders are. Now, I'm talking about borders because there's no borders in the world. That's a bunch of man made stuff. And I don't feel I have any borders. I've been to about 30 countries, but land is land. People are people. Everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants to have a good life. And this is what I'm all about. And that's why we put together all the trainings that we give for businesses, for schools, for whatever phase of society, including getting new economics for companies, getting what's called B corporations, which are benefit corporations, into being able to help not only the company, but the people who make the company up, the investors, and also the planet. So when we take all of that into consideration, that's when we get to have a thriving life instead of just, I got to go to work. We were talking about work earlier when you were getting ready and everything. And when you use that simple word, people think, oh, I'm going to be draining of energy. Words that we choose are super, super valuable. So I also just described me being not only a polymath by what I said, but I also showed you that I am a tangentialist, which means I go on a tangent here and there and back again. But, excuse me, that's another thing, but stops things, whereas and keeps things moving. That simple choice of words. I got to be able to know really a great soul called Joseph Chilton Pierce. He was a human developmentalist like no other in his day. He gave a program of 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, just by himself. And he took in all these different aspects of living and made it how we can develop totally as a human being. And who doesn't want to be a total human being? Be what God created us to be. Allah is so great. Allahu Akbar. He is so great. He gives us life. We get to do with it, with that free will, whether to be good, bad, or we can't help the ugly, but I have an identical twin. That's why I don't look in the mirror. But go ahead. Now, questions about the 3 C's or whatever you want to go for.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What do you think are the 3 C's? First, I start with, what are the
Okay.
3 C's?
Number one, concentration. So here we are. Everybody who is watching us today have gone to school. I'm going to ask you, who or how many times have you ever been taught how to concentrate. How? They tell you to. They tell you to pay attention. Do they teach you how to pay attention? How many rupees? I don't know. So concentration is very important. If we can't concentrate on something, how can we achieve it? We would commit a sin in archery if we miss the target. That's where the word sin came from, missing the target. Our target as Muslims is to be able to know, love, and serve God. Praise Allah. Be the best we can be. So, what happens? We choose to learn to concentrate. Are you ready to learn a simple practice of concentration?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Would you like the Karate Kid concentration technique, or would you like the roller coaster fingers?
I know about the roller coaster fingers, so let's do that.
Let's do the Karate Kid. Okay. There's a couple movies in the older days, that you can see on YouTube, most likely for free, called The Karate Kid. There were a series of them. The second version has this shown in it. And many films like Star Wars and so on have techniques that are given that will uplift you into being a better you. And the concentration technique that was shown in this one was when the boy, the Karate Kid, was having to break big blocks of ice with a karate chop in this pub or somewhere in Japan, right? Because there's the big challenge. And he turns to his sensei, his master teacher. His name was Mr. Miyagi, and he says, "Should I?" And he says, "Yes, but concentrate." So the kid does this. Everybody puts your hand together like this right at your chest. And you're going to, as you breathe in, you're lifting up straight up to the sky. Go ahead as you breathe in. As you breathe out, come down. Keep your eyes open right now until you learn this. Then as you're breathing out, as you're breathing in, you're reaching out forward. And then as you're breathing in, coming back. Then we're going to go back up again once we are ready to breathe in. Breathe out, coming down. Breathe in, going out. Breathe out, coming in. One more time. At your own rate. And we've done this. And during that time, what has happened with your breathing? Is it faster or slower? You're muted. There you go.
I feel that it's faster than normal.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I have a feeling so. Maybe I was doing it too fast.
Okay.
I know.
It's not too fast. I ask you to do it at your own rate. But when you do this, you're basically bringing your energy centered. You're centering yourself. And that's one of the aspects of concentration is you center yourself. Now, when you started to close your eyes, you hadn't learned the technique. It's better to close your eyes when you do it because it takes away distractions. That helps to concentrate. When you slow your breathing down because you're concentrating on this movement and you're only taking a breath in and a breath out, that's slow, and you're doing it at your rate. You just keep on doing this for maybe about 30 seconds, and you have balanced your neocortex, your frontal brain, the right and left hemispheres, and open up all your learning centers just by doing that because you're oxygenating your body. You're also bringing it to the brain because the brain uses more oxygen than any other organ in your body. That gets fueled. When your brain is fueled, and that's another importance of nutrition, because your IQ can go up 20 points with properly supplementation and eating. 20 points. That means from normal to genius, or something else to something else. So you have a concentration technique. Now, what's the benefit of it?
I see.
However you use it, you could concentrate on doing something bad and evil. You could concentrate on whatever you choose. I prompt people to focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. I happen to live in a country where some people hate Trump, but they always talk about him. They don't say or do things that will get him out of office. And there's people who are what are called Trumpers, people who love Trump, and they hate these leftists and these communists and these socialists and these they call everybody each other names. They're not doing something to better the life. They're just angry, angry, angry. I get to do things that support life, that uplift life. And this is why we get to talk together and why so many people can come to life focusing on what they want. So that's what we do, concentrate on what we want.
Yeah. And you know, like you said, like we have to concentrate on what we want. But at times you have trouble deciding what do you want.
Okay, then you have to do something called reflect or contemplate or meditate. Meditation is beyond reflection or contemplation. Contemplation is just questioning that. What is it that I really want in life? What will bring me that in India they call it dharma? What is my path in life? What is my quest in life? What is my vocation? In the West, we call it a vocation. Why did Allah put me on the planet? Ask that question. Or you can do it in an affirmation kind of way. Affirmations is a book. It's an excellent book by Noah St. John. And it talks about using the question instead of an affirmation. An affirmation is, I am happy, I am healthy, I am holy. But when you use an affirmation, your mind is thinking, I'm not really. I want to be, but I'm not really. So it's fighting you. But when you ask Allah, ask God, why am I so happy? Does Allah answer questions? He can if he's asked. He won't if he's not. So when you can talk to God or you can ask things. And ask and ye shall receive is one of the phrases that is used in one of the books. So we can do that. What is it that my dharma is? What is it that I'm questing in life? Instead, you say, why do I know my dharma? Why do I? Why is it so great to know my vocation? Or why am I happy doing my dharma? So the answer to your dharma has to come to make you happy. I did one thing when I was ready to get married, and I prompt people to try this. When it's time for marriage, thank Allah, thank God for the perfect relationship within the year, like as if it's already true. Thank you, God, for the perfect relationship within the year, because we created time, God didn't. Within 4 months, I was married. I had never had a date with my wife. 28 years later, with 2 great boys, having homeschooled them here, having eaten great food, organic food, regenerated food, and so on, we live a great life. Hardly ever raised our voice in our whole marriage. This is what you get for thanking God for the perfect relationship. I didn't know what a perfect relationship. I might have thought, oh, she's got to look this way or be this way or have this little thing. Well, I might have gotten that, but gotten too much of this other stuff, or not enough of this, and I should have had a little bit more of that, or less than that. God knows. So there's another tangent.
I see. And, you know, I know my grandpa and grandma, they never met before their marriage. I mean, like, they didn't even quite know each other before marriage. And it's going perfect. I mean, they
Inshallah.
have six
But you
kids,
have that
they also have
tradition.
grandkids.
Yeah. You also have that tradition. And if you have good parents who brought up good kids, they are most likely going to be good, right? So your parents know good people, and those people know good people. And then you might get somebody who helps to be able to make this connection with the right person. And it works. It's worked for how many centuries? But it's also not worked for people. The reason it doesn't work for people is because those people who, let's say, beat their kids or their wives or whatever, that mistreat people, that don't treat people with respect and love, they raise kids like that. I dare you to see a movie on YouTube called Human. Just the first 10 minutes. Human. You look up Human, there's 3 parts, 90 minutes each. But part one, or the first 10 minutes of the complete movie, is a man, one scene. There's two main scenes in the first 10 minutes. The second main scene is a man looking you straight in the face, telling you how he learned love. First from his father, and then from the most unexpected source you would ever imagine. It is so shocking who taught him true love. When you see that first 10 minutes, you tell me if what I just said is not true. True love, and I'll send anybody something about true love if they like to. Just send, connect up to successsystemsinternational.net. Ask me for about love, ask me for about concentration. Just ask, and you will receive a PDF file free, no harm, no foul, and we will connect that way. The whole thing is I'm what they call in India a karma yogi. I'm totally, at my time in life, and for so much of my life, I've been a karma yogi, not knowing it until I learned yoga. But it's to be able to know, love, and serve God in all forms. So when you see Allah in each other, can you treat Allah bad? Not even close. If you saw Muhammad, praise his, oh my God, it would be fantastic to really meet the real Muhammad. Would you treat him with respect and love? That's how we get to treat everybody. This is our outlook when we come from that love inside. We get to share that in the best way we can. You happen to be a comedian. You also happen to be an actress. You also happen to be an activist, and so on. You can flow using all of that because that's what gives you juice, so to speak. That's what gives you that. In Sanskrit, they call it Shakti. In the West, we call it the force. You feel the force. You can also feel the dark force. That's when you have those dark thoughts. That's when you have those negative thoughts. And when you have a negative thought, in my book, there's a section called switching. You switch that negative thought into a positive one. Let's say you have a bad habit. At this middle school that I was teaching at years ago, a ghetto school, which is a real tough gang kind of a school, I had a boy that sucked his thumb in class. And I said, afterwards, I said, do you want to stop sucking your thumb? I taught him this practice called switching. Within 2 weeks, he was done. Stopped it. He had 14 years of sucking his thumb. Stopped within a couple weeks. PTSD people can stop their problem with PTSD using this practice. There's so many practices and winning ways for living that'll blow your socks off. I shouldn't say blow your socks off because that sounds pretty violent.
Now, I want to ask you one thing. What's the other C and how are they both connected to each other?
There's something called cooperation. This is one of the most valuable things to know in life, period. I'll give you a simple example in the human body. When a healthy human cell, anywhere in the body, has a cell near it that is unhealthy, it will help the healthy cell get better. Automatically. In nature, in the microbiome, the same thing. The only cell in the human body that does not do that, does not help the neighboring cell, does not cooperate together, is the one that everybody fears, cancer. It only thinks about itself. It's all about me. It's all about the unrestricted capitalism. Capitalism can just kill life, and it's been doing it for how many years? So when we decide we switch to a better form, an evolved form that we create so that when we come out of this lockdown, so to speak, we can have this generate more easily because we have a blueprint. And the blueprint is donut economics for one thing. And there's other ones, circular governments, and so on and so forth. So the cooperation is super, super important. And this is what needs to be taught everywhere. When we were developing the best program in the state of California in physical education, which I'm an expert in because, well, I got a lot of becauses, but we developed this and it was rated that twice. It was, again, a gangster kind of a school. And yet we had no police officer on campus. We taught people teamwork, to work together as a team, because team is an acronym for together, everyone achieves more. Everyone. It's not about just one. And that's the same in regard to this chrysalis that a butterfly is. We're right now in a gestation period like the chrysalis of a butterfly. It's in the cocoon. And there's a gook in there. And there's imaginal cells. I call them intentional cells. They know what they're intending to create, which they happen to be more conscious or aware. They happen to be spreading the idea of cooperation, collaboration, and so on. That's the third C, is collaboration. And they start doing that inside this gook. And so more and more of them get lit up. Like you're lighting up people through these podcasts. And more people can share, look, I saw this, and get people to turn back to that and see it and get enthused about life again, or think, oh, I could get into that. There's so many good people around the world doing simple things like growing seeds that are, what are they called? They're old seeds. It's just escaping my mind. Help me out, would you? Because I need help now, and so you're my good cell. The old seeds, not antiquity seeds, but
sunflower seeds.
Pardon?
Sunflower seeds. That's the only seeds seeds that I from.
Well, from long time ago, before Monsanto got to them, before the poisons got to them, before the fertilizers got to them, before all of that, there were hundreds and hundreds of kinds of apples. In America, we get to eat only about 3 or 5 maybe apples, kinds of apples. Yet there's so many hundreds of them because we stressed to be able to have just this kind of apple because it had that quality. But when you made an apple pie with certain other kind of apples too, it made it so much different, and you got to be more creative. And when we took away all those the variety, we took away the variety on the planet. So animals, insects, and so on got degenerated and died because we killed them off with the poisons. We killed them off because they did this, that, or the other thing. Or like a mosquito. I'm out here, I get bit by mosquitoes. When I was in India, I got bit by mosquitoes. I use natural things to not get bit so much. No problem. It's their nature, it's my nature. I stay away from cobras. I've had one 10 feet in front of me on the road. And when I was walking to Ganeshpuri, uh, we get to be able to cooperate, collaborate, and everything. So,
A cobra. I see a picture and I freak out. You gotta see one.
beautiful snake. It is so beautiful. I could send you a picture of a snake that was on. It was coiled up in this size, right on my doorstep. I had walked right by it to go out to in my garden where I am now, and then as I walk back, I see it coiled up. It's a rattlesnake. A rattlesnake is poisonous. We had one in our front yard at our doorstep many years ago when our dog was so much younger. He got bit by it on his nose. And I said, Inshallah. They wanted a couple $1,000s to save him. I said, $1,000? He'll die if he's supposed to die. And he was taken care of. He's 13 years old now. We had a bear on our front doorstep. I scared him away. You don't have to have fear. Fear does you no good. Fear, what is it? You can get over that fear. I helped a woman who had agoraphobia finally walk out of her house. She could not go out of her house. And yet this woman had hitchhiked to India through Pakistan and Afghanistan and into India and gave birth in, I think it was Goa, and got back to Sweden. This woman was a strong Swedish woman. I mean, she was great. She was my second wife. That was a different husband that she had that child with. But she was so strong, but suddenly she got agoraphobia. I guided her out of that. So you can get out of any fears you have at all using certain simple practices, not psychotherapy kind of thing, because psychotherapy is in a way archaic. There's so many things that work. Sometimes you use certain plants that will help you get through PTSD, but all through nature, not adjusting it into drugs. When you change things into drugs, they hurt the body because, well, it doesn't have the wholeness to it. It's like if you eat white bread, oh yeah, white bread's perfect, it's great. It's not. It took out all the wheat germ, and it took out all the different other things that are so valuable for the digestion and assimilation and everything to the human body. So they had to add vitamin D and this and that vitamin, say it's enriched. Oh, good. You took out more than you put in. So we get to look at things in systems in life. And that's why we say the 3 C's. And I added venture actually at the end, but that's another story. So collaboration, how do we do that?
So
That's the 3rd C. You want to talk about that? Do we have time? You're running the
I
show.
don't know what was wrong with my mic. Yeah, of course we have time. All we have is time.
That's one thing I'll talk about real quickly.
Yeah.
The only reason why we are not present, whole present right now, is because people created time. Without time, I have not worn a watch in like 30 years. And it isn't because this came about. I haven't used a watch because I'm beyond time. I'm more akin to being in South Asia because, yes, soon coming. Oh, yes. And what does soon coming mean? Oh, it could be tomorrow, it could be the next month. It is like that. What is it? So we are living in the moment. We are present together. And that's the beauty of life. When we stop coming from our heart, put your hand up to the screen. If you feel like you're not coming from your heart, we get to get connected. Once you're connected, then you can put the hand down and we feel more connected. And this is through how many thousand miles? Energy is energy. There's more space in the earth than the entire solar system. And that's the atoms. The atoms have more space. See a movie, it's on YouTube, called Infinite Potential. Infinite Potential is about David Bohm, one of the most famous physicists in the world, like Einstein's son. Fascinating video. Sit with your family. You, Rahim, sit with your family and discuss it. Stop it when you feel like it and discuss it. It's one of the provocative films that add to life, that add insight into nature and life itself. That's how we collaborate. We find people in all fields of life and we get together on Zoom calls. Like, I love Humanity Rising. It's going to start on September 1st. Look up Humanity Rising. I look at it live when it's on. It's for 2 hours in the morning where I am, but it's in the evening where you are. It's probably about 8 or 9 o'clock where you are. You can look it up in Central European time. It's 5 to 8 o'clock, or 5 to 7 o'clock. I think it is in Central European time. So for you, it should be somewhere around 8 o'clock, I would think.
Yes,
But
and to the audience, I want to say that I will try to share as many links as possible because I try to, kind of open new tabs and put them all in, but I'm not sure I can get all these things together.
yeah, well, one of the things, again, if people want information, like I've just talked about, they can email me. Again, check through successsystemsinternational.net, and you can email me through that. If you have a question about something, I'll send you a PDF if I can, or I'll send you a link if I can. If I get hundreds of thousands of links, someone's going to have to help me out. I would like some help if somebody's, and it'd be like doing what is called Seva. If somebody's really technologically savvy that can do a web page, look on my web page and see how it can be improved and improve it. Check with me. I work on a tit for tat basis. It's almost like in a way, a bartering basis. Or when I work with people out in the public, I like to charge people what they earn. If I give them an hour of time, I charge them an hour that they earn. I haven't had Bill Gates do it, but maybe someday I'll get super rich then.
Yeah, I mean, he earns a lot of money,
Yeah.
but spends it well.
Well,
Spends it well.
well, I'm not sure. Uh, if you look at the
With all
work,
the organizations, I know, like, personally, people who were really, really helped and highlighted by his organizations. So,
there's some that are doing well and some that are not. It's like some of the really top environmental organizations have been infiltrated by the big business. And so they're not functioning as strongly and as one pointedly as they used to. And people like there's two organizations that I like in regard to trees, planting trees. One is I Give Trees. I Give Trees They make sure the tree grows enough so that it's on its own. Some people plant millions of trees, but they don't take care of them after they're planted. So those little trees die. The key factor is that growth. There's another one. I'll have to think of it and send you the link to it. But it, this kind of collaboration, like we used to have this woman who started I Give Trees. She lived at our house for a few years, no charge. She was up from Brazil. She was saving the Atlantico rainforest, which is the most devastated rainforest in the world. So we collaborated together. Our boys started Kids for Environmental and Social Action when they were 10 years old. Some neighbors also did, they were 9, 10, and 11 years old. They started Kids for Environmental and Social Action. They were able to get thousands of trees planted because they had concerts that people paid to come to. They were performing. Some of them were great violinists. Some of them played a great piano and singing and all this kind of stuff, plus food. They sold food and made money in a simple, fun way, and had everybody have more and more fun in a neighborly way. And they got thousands of dollars to be able to get trees planted. So this is the kind of thing that is collaboration. And when people hear a good idea, run with it.
I see. It was an amazing session with you. And it's not just, it was, I think, one of the only time I was not looking at the time. I was like, kind of like leave it right now because it's important what we're talking about. And if we start practicing these things, it'd be helpful for us and for also other people around us that
Totally.
we'd then be able to help.
The big key is practicing what you learn so that you're walking your talk. When you walk your talk, the force is with you. When you only talk, you don't have much force. That's why some, quote, gurus have a lot of people following. Some imams have a lot of people following them. Yet the Quran doesn't have somebody between you and God. But some people believe this imam is the best. Why? Because he resonates with me. Yet somebody else resonates with another imam. You have to follow your heart and follow that. Within 90 seconds, usually a woman knows if the person is right for them to get married. Within 90 seconds. This is what science has been finding out. That intuition is so powerful. But I so appreciate being with you again. And thank you so much.
It was an amazing session with you. Thank you so much for everybody for watching. It was amazing. And inshallah, we'll come again with another session.
Again, another time. Cheers.